Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to show you a recipe for beef bolognese, and I'm also going to show you how I prepare my spaghetti squash that goes along with the beef bolognese. Um, let's talk a little bit about the spaghetti squash. First things first, when looking for a spaghetti squash, for a really good one, you want to make sure that it's nice and medium sized, nothing too small, nothing too big, of course. And you want to make sure that it's nice and yellow. The color is deep yellow. This just bright yellow color, so that lets you know that it's ready to go. I absolutely love spaghetti squash. It's a great substitution if you don't have a lot of carbs in your day and you're actually craving pasta. I also use zucchini noodles as well, so you don't have to use spaghetti squash. But I absolutely love using this when I can find it in stores. It is a winter squash, so sometimes I don't find it. The main reason I love it is because it's absolutely low in calories. I think for about a cup of spaghetti squash, it's about 35 to 40 calories, I think. It's great to use for weight loss, so you can substitute your pasta with it. It does actually have a really good mouthfeel. It's not mushy. You would think that maybe because it's a squash, it's going to be like really mushy, but it has a little bit of texture to it, so it's not going to throw you off completely. It actually is really packed full with nutrients. I think it's like A, B, and C. So it's good for your eye health. It's good for your immunity. It gives you energy. So it's really nutrient dense. So by the way, the beef bolognese recipe actually has a lot of vegetables in it as well. So I mean, if you use about a cup of the spaghetti squash with the beef bolognese, you're actually going to feel really full, because the beef bolognese has a lot of vegetables, it has a lot of good protein, and with this squash, it is low in calorie, but it's also very high in fiber, so it's going to keep you full much longer. So with that being said, let's move right along and I show you exactly how I prepare these spaghetti squash for roasting. Okay guys, the first thing you want to do is make sure and remove all the stickers from the squash, because remember, you're going to be putting this into the oven and you do not want to have any paper or stickers or anything like that on the squash. So the next thing you're going to do is cut it in half. You can absolutely roast the squash whole. Maybe stick some holes in the like puncture some holes around the squash, and then put it in the oven at 400 and probably bake it for maybe an hour and a half, depending on the size of your squash. So you want to be very careful when cutting a squash, because it is very hard and the knife can easily slip and you can get cut. So what you want to do is try and at least maybe cut off a piece from the top, just to get it stabilize the squash a little bit. As you can see here, I was having a really hard time cutting the squash, so what I did was I put it on the wooden cutting board, and then I proceeded to cut the squash again. So just make sure that if you cannot cut through it, ask somebody who can, just to make sure that you do not injure yourself at all. So once you have that squash open up, you see it inside. There's like the seeds and the strings or whatever that's in the squash. You want to get a spoon and probably scoop some of that out. We are not going to be cooking both pieces, because I prefer to eat the squash cooked nice and fresh. So what you can do is, with the other piece, wrap it up in some plastic wrap and put it in the fridge, and you can always roast that another day. So you're seeing me here scooping out all of the, I don't know what you call that, the hair inside the squash, the seeds, the guts, I don't know what you call it. But I just love scooping that out because I really do not like it. So I would prefer to scoop that out. So the next thing, you want to put your squash on a lined baking sheet, and you're going to put in some olive oil. You can put in a teaspoon, you can put in a tablespoon. It just depends. I just used a capful of olive oil. So you want to make sure and just massage the oil into the squash. Gotta treat your squash like your baby. And then you're gonna let the excess drip on the tray and then add some salt and pepper. My salt grinder has some peppercorns in it, so that's what you're seeing, the little black stuff in the salt. So you want to turn the squash over because you want that part of the squash to roast and get really delicious and caramelize in the oven. So what you want to do before you put it in the oven is just poke some holes so the steam can have somewhere to release while it's in the oven and doing its thing and roasting away and getting delicious. So you're going to put it in a 400-degree preheated oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. Okay guys, so this is the spaghetti squash out of the oven. See these nice brown roasting color on it. I went ahead and stick it a couple times with the knife to make sure that it went straight through, which you can see the fork is going through. It's nicely cooked. So now I'm gonna just flip it over, and that is it. You should let it cool before you pull it apart, but I will go ahead and show you. And you see what I'm talking about? These strands in here, that's why I say it looks exactly like spaghetti noodles. See how beautiful it is. It's nice and delicious. And remember, when you scoop it out, remember you added some salt and pepper, so you want to make sure and just give it a mix to distribute the salt and pepper. And then I can hold on to this little piece here so I can Okay guys, so this is the squash, nice and pull apart and delicious. And now we're going to move along and I'm going to show you the beef bolognese recipe. Okay guys, so in a pan, you want to heat the pan up, add about a teaspoon of olive oil, and throw in onions, carrots, and celery. You can add as much or as little as you like. And also add in a little pinch of salt just so the veggies does not get burned. So you just want to, stir it ever so often until it gets nice and soft and translucent. Then you're going to add the beef. Just going to add it in. You just want to break it up a little bit in the pan. Break it up. Okay. You just want to break it up with a spoon and let it get nice and brown. And then once it's brown, once you don't see any pink anymore, you're going to add this mixture here that I have: salt and pepper to taste, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, a little bit of onion powder, basil, and paprika. We forgot to put in the garlic. The garlic goes in before you put the beef in with the onion, carrots, and celery. You just want to grate it in the pan with the veggies and saute it for about 30 seconds and then throw the beef in, but I totally forgot to do that, so I'm just going to add it in now.
And I'm making lasagna. I find that it really just gives a really nice flavor.
Okay, so you just want to mix that in and let that go until it's nice and brown, and then add the spice mix. Once the meat is nice and crumbled and brown and you don't see any more pink bits, you want to just sprinkle in your spice mixture, and you can always add more or less It just depends on your taste and what you like. You can also add in some red pepper flakes, but I'm not going to put any because my daughter is also going to eat this. So you can put whatever you want. So it just depends on if you like it spicy or you like it, you know, just go with your taste buds. So the meat mixture has been cooking for quite some time, maybe about, I would say 5 minutes. So at least all the spices and herb that I add in there gets nice and toasty and releases all of its flavor. And this is what you want to see before you start adding anything else. These little brown bits at the bottom of the pan, this is what you want to see. So the next thing we're going to do is just add about half of this can of chicken stock just to deglaze the bottom. You can absolutely use water if you don't have chicken stock. I just have a bunch of these cans sitting in my pantry, so I opted to use the stock instead of the water. And then I'm gonna add 1 jar. This is 28 ounces of just store-bought tomato sauce, because this one is really delicious. It tastes so good. The ingredients are simple. You can see it right here. Italian whole peeled tomatoes, olive oil, onion, salt, garlic, basil, black pepper, and dried oregano. So it's simple. And I'm just gonna pour the entire thing. And there's a lot still in here. So what you can do is add a little bit of stock. So we're not about wasting. Just shake it up and then pour this in. Then you want to just give it a nice stir. And then we are going to add bay leaf. Probably. Then you just want to cover it and let it go. Turn the heat down. Okay, so you want to just check it, give it a stir, and you can taste it at this point just to see what your flavors are like. See if you need salt or whatever, but I think it needs a little bit of sweetness just to balance out the acid in here. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of sugar. You can add coconut sugar. That is what I would normally use, but I'm out of my coconut sugar, so I just added a little bit of regular brown sugar in here just to balance it out. It's about a teaspoon of sugar. You don't need a lot, you just need a little bit. Give it a stir, let that melt in there. And then give it a taste again to make sure that it's good. You can, taste to see if you need any salt, pepper, garlic, whatever you need. It's perfect. I'm just gonna cover it back and let it continue to go for about 20 minutes again. Okay guys, so this is it after the 20 minutes. I usually like to cook my sauce for about 50 minutes to an hour. You want to add in here some fresh chopped parsley. You can add in some fresh chopped basil as well. Give it a mix, turn the stove off, and that is it. It's ready to be served. I'm also going to show you in this video how I use the same sauce to prepare a lasagna. So yeah, that is it. It's just ready to be served with your, as you can see here, I use the spaghetti squash. You can also use zucchini noodles and even pasta. So the meat mixture has had its chance to sit down and cool. So what you want to do now is remove the bay leaves. Okay guys, so you want to just put a layer of meat sauce at the bottom of the pan. I'm using a non-stick pan. You don't have to put sauce. It's just, I don't know why I do it. It's just become like a habit. So yeah, you just want to, you can put that layer or you don't have to. And then you want to put in your lasagna noodles. These noodles I do not cook all the way. I usually cook them, if it says cook for 10 minutes, I usually cook it for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't want to overcook the noodles because remember, this is also going into the oven to bake. So nobody likes a really mushy lasagna. Anyway, so once you put your noodles on, you want to put a layer of the meat mixture, and you can put it as thick or as thin as you like. It just depends on, you know, how much meat you like in your lasagna. The next thing we're going to add is some grated mozzarella cheese. As you can see here, you can use provolone, you can use, I mean, the cheese preference, it all depends, but I love using mozzarella, and I'm also going to add in some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I love using the freshly grated stuff because it tastes so much better. I do not like using the stuff in the green bottle because it's really and truly not good for you. Okay, after you added the Parmesan cheese, you just want to repeat the process with pasta and then the meat sauce. So again, you can put as much or as little meat sauce as you want. Here's where it gets really interesting. I love adding spinach and zucchini to my lasagna because it's added nutrients in there, added vegetables, added fiber, because, I mean, you're already eating pasta, which is really high in calories. So adding in some vegetables in there kind of makes it feel a little bit better. So then after you add in your zucchini and your spinach, you want to go ahead and add in some mozzarella cheese again, and here you can add as little or as much as you like. It just all depends again. And I like smushing it down because I added the spinach in whole. It kind of gets a little bit puffy, so you just want to push it down. And then you repeat with the pasta, the meat, and the cheese again, and that is it. Okay, I forgot to show you guys that I did sprinkle a little bit of oregano on top before I covered it with the foil. So once it's covered, you put it in a 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Okay guys, that was the end of the video. I thank you so much for watching till the end. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and let me know if you give my recipe a try. Come back and let me know if you try it and if you love it as much as I do. So I guess that is it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.